Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKadosh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalio, and this video is about Bible prophecy regarding that in Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire," which is talking about the 10 horns being the European Union, the beast being NATO, and the whore is America. And what's going to happen in the future, as it is a part of Bible prophecy and will come to pass, is that, as it is written, the European Union and NATO will hate America, and as such, they will burn her with fire. And the judgment for America, which is Bible prophecy, is that America will be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. All right, that is why the Lord has given Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the technology to build, well, the wisdom to build, and as such, the technology of the ICBM missiles. Right, they will be used to destroy America, which is also known as Mystery Babylon the Great in the same Revelation chapter 17. Okay, so what we're seeing here, right, is from Lena Petrova, right? She brings out a lot of news regarding current events, regarding the economy and world affairs and everything, and she has taken notice of the deteriorating relationship between America and its allies. In this case, Trump versus the European Union, right? And the European Union is of the 10 horns, right? And Trump represents America, okay? So it says Trump versus EU, threats over oil exports, wartime, NATO defense spending, EU decline, and economic war. All right, so she's just going to go into what is happening regarding, this battle between America and her allies. All right, which all of this is going to lead to them hating her and burning her with fire at the end of the other Bible prophecy, which is World War III, Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. The second woe is past, World War II, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, which is World War III. Right at the end of that world war, America's enemies, which includes Russia and the heathen, Russia and her allies, will shoot missiles at America, okay? And then America's own allies, things are going to happen, and you'll hear some of it in this video, where things will happen where they will turn against her, right? NATO and the EU, and they too will shoot missiles at America and destroy her. All right, and Trump is the man, right? The Lord Yahweh Shemisha is in full control of all things, and Trump is coming back into office within a month. And yeah, he's coming with a certain kind of spirit upon him, man. So let's just listen to what Lena has to say, and advertisements will probably come out, because but yeah, let's just listen.
No, but if you'd like to come, I'd like to have him.
Oh, by the way, just look at the image real quick. So-called white people, they're actually Edomites, right? And their forefather is Esau, and they rule this kingdom today. And they are the wicked, right? And they're not white, they're Edomites, right? They're actually red. Look at Trump. He is closer to that red that you see on the screen than the white shirt that he's wearing. I mean, clearly, right? Just wanted to point that out. Anyway.
I didn't invite him, no.
There are many
Genesis
more
chapter
unknowns
25
with
and verse
regard to
25.
Trump's stance on the EU. For instance, Elon Musk publicly supported Germany's Alternative for Deutschland, a party that is completely against any aid to Kiev. Musk himself often expressed skepticism on the matter, and he clearly said that he would be against supporting Kiev and against not negotiating some type or some form of peace. Many other members of the elected president's team have also voiced similar views. Without a doubt, there is a struggle within Trump's circle over approaches to Ukraine. So, statements from different parts, from different factions within this team, should not be taken as a final position. Things change very quickly nowadays until Trump announces his definitive stance. Why is this important, you may ask? Well, this is important because Trump's stance on adjusting relations between the US and the EU will drive how much continued support is provided to Zelensky and to his regime to continue the war. Let's start with the main point. European countries' defense spending increases, which is one of the requests or demands that was made by Trump. This is Trump's favorite topic, by the way, where he constantly argues that the United States is not obliged to bear the lion's share of NATO's defense costs, and that NATO allies should really carry as much of that burden as they can. They should carry a much larger portion of the expenses to relieve the burden on Americans. While the majority of those in the United States would likely support this idea, let's be honest, NATO cannot exist without the support of the United States. The United States is the backbone of NATO. So Trump's commentary does put into question how many more of its purely offensive projects NATO will be able to entertain in the future and how far it will be able to take them.
So you heard what she said? She said that America is the backbone of NATO, right? Because America is the one on top, right? When we go back to, let me see where she's at, 640, just in case I lose it. When we go back to Revelation chapter 17, right? It is the whore, which is America, that rideth the beast. And that whore is the one that is in control, right? And these others, the beast is subject to her, right? So let's just go into Revelation chapter 17 real quick and just take a look at what's going on here, right? So Revelation chapter 17, and we'll start at verse 1. And there came one of the seven vials, Salakis, the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Okay, the great whore being America, with whom the kings of the earth, right? The kings of the earth, which are the other, the heathen, have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been drunk with the wine of her fornication, right? So remember, America is that top hub, right, of the Edomites, the so-called white people, right? So it is them that is in rulership, and the heathen are subject to them, right? And they have committed fornication with America. They have taken on to her ways. They've taken on to her philosophies. They've taken on to her way of life, the way how she runs the countries, the way how she pushes certain things, all right? And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay? So the woman, right, is riding the beast that has 7 heads and 10 horns, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication, right? She is glorified and she's well adorned, all right? And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And that is America, right? America is that place where from there all of the wickedness comes out, and all of the other nations take onto it, and all the other countries take onto it, right? And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, who are the Israelites, us, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, right, which is a miracle, and of the beast that carrieth her, right? She's on top of the beast, right? She's in control, okay, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns, and that the 7 heads, right, and 10 horns, okay. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, right, and that is the Roman Empire, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, which is Europe, and go into perdition, into destruction, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life, and whose names are written in the book of life, the elect of the nation of Israel, okay. From the book of life, from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is, okay. And then verse 9, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, right? So there are 7 mountains, which are the 7 kingdoms of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, right? Or governments, right? That's what mountains represents here. And those 7 mountains are Germania Major, Germania Minor, the French, the Spanish, the British, the Greek. How many is that? The 6. And the Romans, okay? So what did I say? Germania Major, Germania Minor, the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, the British. Okay, that's 7, right? And then it says, and there are 7 kings. Those are the same that I just mentioned. 5 are fallen. So 5 are fallen, right? So 5 were fallen, which were the Germania Major and Germania Minor, right? The Greeks, the Spanish, and the French, right? And it says, and one is not, which is referring to Rome, okay? And the other is not yet come, right? So the other that is not yet come is the UK. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space, right? And the beast that was and is not, right, which was Rome, even he is the 8th, because the 8th that came is America. America is back in this with the spirit of Rome, okay? That's why it is said that America is the redux of the Roman Empire, right? Because it's like Rome came back, but in the form of America, right? And when you take a look at, and this is something that even the Edomite scholars have like put out there many times, the parallels between America and how it is, and Rome and how it is, and it's uncanny, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is so clear, right? And even the way that America is falling at this point in time, which America, is, the rulership of the Edomites, they're losing power, their kingdom is deteriorating, is the same way how Rome fell. And many articles have come out showing those parallels, the way that they have their government with the Republicans and Democrats. Is the same thing that they had in Rome. The way how you can see how they build and all of these kinds of things is the same kind of way, okay? So, and is of the 7 and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet. So these are the European countries, the European Union, right? No kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast, right? These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. And so that is the main point I wanted to get to. So they have given their power and their strength onto the beast, right? And America rides that beast. So that's why Trump is so aggressive when he comes to his own allies, NATO and the EU, because America is the one that is in charge. And so he feels that they are obligated to always respond to whatever orders he makes, because America is the whore that ride at the beast, the queen. You know what I'm saying? With the crown. Okay? So yeah, man. Going back to the Lena video.
entertain in the future and how far it will be able to take them. With a considerable political crisis in Europe now, there are many unknowns. Germany is heading to early elections. I discussed this in my recent video. You're welcome to watch it for more details. And in France, the government has been dismissed. The situation in the United Kingdom is also very tense with regard to the budget. At the same time, demanding that the EU countries shoulder 5% of their GDP on defense spending is a very, very ambitious request. The United States spends less than 3.5% of its GDP on defense. Russia, for comparison purposes, which is engaged in a full-scale war against the collective West, allocated nearly 6% of its GDP for military purposes this year, and it is set to increase its military spending budgeting to 6.3% the following year. So now, knowing that information, we can conclude that 5% is essentially the defense budget of a wartime country. The question then becomes, is NATO preparing for a full-scale war in the near future within the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years, if it agrees to hike up its defense spending to 5%? The answer to that question will be very telling in my personal opinion, because at this time, no NATO country spends 5% of its GDP on defense. Germany and France, for example, spend just north of 2%. Italy and Spain spend less than 2%, and they are unlikely to support doubling down on that effort. Increasing defense spending by the EU countries might be favored by US politicians. I have no doubts about that, but it will be a very difficult conversation domestically for those countries. It will likely result in a political turmoil within those European countries, as their populations do not want to go to war with Russia despite the propagandized Russophobia. Europe is likely to be unable to meet Trump's demands as far as defense budget increases go, as well as purchases of more expensive energy resources from the United States at the expense of their own population. The deindustrialization of Western economies over the past few decades, the deterioration of their competitive position on the global market in many sectors, losing to China as far as the market share goes in many sectors, and the desire to maintain high living standards and social programs led to a colossal increase in the money supply of both the dollar and the euro. The process especially escalated during the pandemic, as we know, when Western economies and households were essentially flooded with money. By the time the war in Ukraine began, both the United States and the EU were already burdened with enormous external debt, while the war in Ukraine, in general, has been very positive for the United States economy. American oil and gas flowed to the European markets, pushing Russian exports out, and demand for American weapons increased as well. For the United States, the disaster has been a win because it also enabled European leaders to completely give up their sovereignty. And for Europe, it's been nothing short of a nightmare.
Right.
Trump, as it appears, is set to drive the U.S. dominance as far as he can at the expense of all other players, even allies.
Right.
Will he succeed? That
There
remains.
it is. And look at the time of which the video stopped. 10:44, 1:44. Yeah, man. You see, this is the dissolution, okay, or the breaking apart of the relationship between America and her allies, which will eventually lead to going back to Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16, and the 10 horns, the European Union, which thou sawest upon the beast, NATO, thee shall hate the whore, which is America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. This is all a part of Bible prophecy literally manifesting in front of our eyes right now. Okay? For Yahweh Shemishai hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, right? Because there is no free will. So no matter what it is that you see, anything that is happening, it is all by the will and power of Yahweh Shemishai. There is no free will. Okay? The Lord is going to push all of these nations to war. The Lord is going to push Esau, Edom, to push the microchip, which is the mark of the beast. You know, I had to get that in there, right? The Lord is going to push for America's allies to turn against her and to burn her with fire by way of the missiles. Okay? And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh Shemishai shall be fulfilled. Right? This is that time, man. And as for Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the Edomites, you know, their kingdom is coming to an end, man. In the book of Mark, right? Because there's no peace among these Edomites. I mean, even just look at what's going on geographically. You have America that is having issues with her allies, NATO and EU, right? Because of her constant tyranny, right? Right? Edomites against Edomites. And then you have that side of things against another Edomite sovereign nation, which is Russia. And then that Edomite sovereign nation has gone ahead and recruited the heathen to help fight with them for World War III. And then the European Union, what I'm getting from it is that they're like, you know, we're trying to do this so to prevent war, but like Trump is trying to put, like, it's a mess. You know what I'm saying? But that's just it for them, you know, these Edomites. And this is Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And Esau's kingdom is clearly divided, fragmented in several different kinds of ways. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself, Satan, referring to Esau, Edom here, the adversary unto the Israelites, and ultimately Yahweh Shemishai as well, rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but at an end. And Esau's kingdom has an end, man. It's coming to an end, right? This vile, wicked kingdom is coming to an end. And I think I just want to end it with just one more precept. I think it's 10 and 8. Okay. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another, and their kingdom is just for a little season, man. All right. And it's right now, it is, you know, we're in that translation point, you know, where Esau's starting to lose power and his kingdom is starting to fall. And, you know, the spirit of Yahweh Shemishai is starting to fill the world more and more, which is the spirit of righteousness, right? Okay. And when it is that Yahushua returns, that will be the final end point of Esau's kingdom and our kingdom arriving when it is that Yahushua arrives, all right, to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel. So this is what's going on regarding Bible prophecy, regarding this situation. And, you know, that's just what it is. With that, I'd like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai, Bashim Kodesh, Shalom.